Welcome, Precious, and thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
I am so excited to be here. So this is a treat. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to do this interview style and we'll take it where it goes. And so can you give us a quick summary of your career so far?
My career, I started speaking. I've been an international professional speaker since I was 16 years old in St. Louis, Missouri. And I didn't know it would take me this far, especially as a kid. I used to get paddled for talking too much, being put out of classrooms and in the hallway and stuff. And I look back and I laugh. So at 16 years old, I started speaking, and my first speaking engagement was before the mayor of the city of St. Louis. I did so well that my next speaking engagement was before the governor of Missouri. Shocking. Wow. And then I went off to Spelman College on a full scholarship, graduated with a degree in English, minor in art history, pre-law, received a full scholarship to Georgetown University Law Center, and started there in 2001. So I was there September 11, 2001. And promptly got kicked out in 2002. That's a different story for a different day. And then I received a full scholarship to Rutgers School of Law, Newark, where I graduated in 2007, passed the New York State Bar on my first try. Started my career as a successful attorney, hated it, couldn't imagine doing that for 40 years. Left my fiance, met a very famous Hollywood actor. And I almost want to say the rest is history, because being with him inspired me to start my first company, which was Curvy Girls Lingerie. And I started that company with no money. Yeah, riddle me that, right? Riddle me that.
Right.
And I got up enough gumption to walk up to the producers of MSNBC at a major event in New York City. And I pitched myself not even knowing that's what I was doing. So my first pitch got me on Your Business with JJ Ramberg. And I did the elevator pitch part. And in 54 seconds, I walked away with $500,000. And then they told me, you need to enter pitch competitions. And so I entered 14 and became a champion 13 times. And I'm very proud of that number 13. And then so many people, when they would see me take the stage and go up against Ivy League grads, cool tech companies and international companies, and do it with a lingerie company for full figure divas and plus size fashionistas, and win, they're like, you need to teach me how to do what you do. So I started Perfect Pitches by Precious, where I teach the art and the science of the most killer elevator pitches, media pitches, investor pitches, speaker pitches, and interview pitches. And I do this so well that I help you slay all competition. That led me to, being a corporate trainer at some of the biggest top Fortune 500 companies in the world, like LinkedIn, Google, Microsoft, Federal Reserve Bank. Wow. And then very recently, in the last 2 years, I became a 2-time #1 best-selling author.
Wow, you did this all in one lifetime.
Yeah, and there's so much more to come. That's so much more to come.
So incredible.
And that's why I think it's so important, as a Black woman, as a learned professional, as a highly educated woman, that it wasn't easy to get here. And I do know we're going to explore that more as the questions come, but it wasn't easy for me to get here. And I probably made every mistake under the sun, from bad relationships to bad partnerships and stuff like that. And that's why I say I feel so empowered now, because I've learned from my mistakes. And that's why I don't want to see other women make my same mistakes. And if they're going to make the mistakes, turn your mess into your message.
Oh, I like that. I almost enjoy hearing about people's mistakes more than their success.
Yeah, girl. I enjoy that so much more, because we're often told that it was the perfect way. People had this perfect way. And I'm here to tell you, these overnight successes they keep telling us are not true. I'm here to tell you it's just not true.
Right. That's disempowering when you think that somebody just was successful on one try. You have to hear about all the tries, all the mistakes, to give you empowerment and encouragement. So you mentioned a ton of accomplishments. Which of your qualities or skills have most enabled you to be successful in the business world?
Soft skills. Speaking, communication skills. That has allowed me to do the impossible and make it look easy. Now, I'm not going to say math, science, and all of those aren't great, but those aren't my skill sets. But, being a woman who came from the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri, who wasn't wanted by her parents, who was almost beaten to death by my mother on November 18th, 1991. And, just always feeling like I just wasn't worth it to the people around me. But yet there was this little voice inside of me that kept saying, you're going to make it. And so I didn't realize, again, the same thing that got me in trouble when I was young was the very thing that would free me as a grown woman. And so being able to move through a room full of vultures, like Jay-Z says, being able to make myself known among the greatest who have ever done it, walking into rooms and pitching myself, and then the next thing you know, I'm on magazine covers and stuff like that, is soft skills. It's being able to read a room. It's being able to know when to rise to the occasion or when to fall back, and to sit back and observe. So those are the soft skills are how I got here. It wasn't just, math and science, because clearly you're a girl.
No. No.
So that's why I tell people speaking is such a good, being able to communicate. And I'm not saying, listen, I don't have a degree from Harvard. I can, my lexicon is vast. Be clear. My lexicon is vast, but the majority of people don't need me to speak at this high level, because what they're experiencing doesn't need to be talked at a high level. They want to know that you feel them and that you understand because you've gone through it. Not that you had the perfect story, but right. Turning your mess into your message and then being unafraid to put it out there, because so many people are telling a fake story. I think what really helps me and a lot of my clients and women who come in contact with me is that I'm unapologetically real.
That's great. That's great. Now you mentioned lots of different turning points. Could you identify one turning point that was the most significant thing that helped you get you where you are today? I mean, you mentioned a few. I mean, it might not just be one, but if there's one that sticks out in your mind.
I would have to take it back to being 15 years old. My grandparents asked my father to let them raise me, and I didn't want to go with them because they were old. Best decision I never made. Immediately when I walked into the home, I was shown my room. And my grandmother and my grandfather woke me up every morning by twinkling my toes, having my bath water drawn. Like I was the focus of attention. And having home cooked meals. But the most beautiful thing my grandmother ever did for me is she believed in me beyond all doubt. She used to tell me, you have a way with words. When you speak, you command attention. She said, Oprah's gonna know your name. She made me do affirmations in the mirror every morning while she watching. And I couldn't, you gotta do what your grandma say. Yeah. Or at least back in the day you had to, right? And so can you imagine that she spoke over my life? She said, you are a superstar. You're going to do this. I never heard those things before. No. Even though I nursed it deep within my heart, I never thought anybody would see it. She said, I saw it when you were little. And she said, I've been plotting for this day to get you here. And so whenever I grace a stage, whenever I'm called about a big opportunity, a small opportunity, I am reminded that it took a 60-something-year-old woman to bless me with her love, to turn my stone cold heart into mush, and to tell me and look me in the eye every day and tell me that I'm worth it. I'm all that and then some, just dropping tea on us, dropping that true tea. And so when I look back, the greatest thing is to have another woman or another presence or another man or people believe in me when others said it was impossible. And you know what's impossible, Queen? It's impossible to stop a person who will not quit. And I will not quit.
Yeah, thank you for all that. It's pretty powerful. Wow. What would the top 3 tips you would give for young women just starting out in their career with all those insecurities and doubts and questions and fears? What would be your top 3 tips?
My top 3 tips for these young women just starting out is fortune. Number 1, fortune favors the bold. And I know when you're starting out, you just want to fit in and stuff like that. But the people you look up to broke the mold. Remember that. There's a reason why you only hear about certain people in the news. They broke the mold in some way. From the Rihannas to the Beyoncés to the COO of Facebook. I'm drawing a blank on her name for some reason, but the Oprahs, all these wonderful Sarah Bakley with Spanx. Like, think of it, they broke the mold. They didn't listen to what people said and didn't do it. They went out and did it, and they put in that hard work, that smart work. Number 2 is don't do it alone. Make sure that you have an accountability buddy, friend, group that will push you and not accept your BS. When you're scared, you call on them and they'll prop you up and walk beside you, not behind you. And so you definitely need that in your life. If you have a big dream, put it out there and make them challenge you to live up to that dream. And number 3, even when no one else believes in you, you keep believing. Remember, persistence beats resistance. So as long as you keep persisting, keep shining, keep grinding, it is impossible to stop a woman who will not quit. Those are my 3 tips for our young women starting out.
Love it. I absolutely love it. So it sounds like you have challenged the status quo. Can you
all day, every day,
a lot in your life? Have you ever called out gender, racial bias, or any other status quo that you've challenged? Give us an example of that. And
girl, when it's like Curvy Girls lingerie, just did that alone.
Right.
So many people were like, fat girls don't need lingerie. No one's looking at them. Aha, au contraire, mon frère. Here's the deal. There are over 40 million women size 14 or larger in the United States, just like me, and we all want pretty underwear. It's just too bad the most mainstream lingerie companies don't consider products for women my size. So that's why I created Curvy Girls Lingerie. We're the ultimate shopping experience for full-figure divas and plus-size fashionistas. And one of the things that I learned on my journey with Curvy Girls Lingerie is I was 327 pounds, I was Black, didn't have an Ivy League degree, and had no connections to media, PR, none of it. I didn't. But when I learned to change my language, I changed the game. So
what does that mean?
So when we talk about changing your language, if I said, big girls need love too.
Yeah.
Oh, fat girls a chance. Nobody cares about that. When you say full figure divas and plus size fashionistas, and you embody that, and you go on Shark Tank and you shock and awe the world with a low-cut canary yellow peplum dress and Afro and extreme makeup. You bring those full-figure divas getting information like Beyonce. Let me tell you something. You want to shock and awe. When I tell you fortune favors the bold, that's what I mean. Mm-hmm. When I started pitching, people were like, oh, well, when you start Perfect Pitches by Precious, you're a Black woman, you might want to have another woman who looks nothing like you to really get it out there. I challenged the status quo by saying, no, I'm going to stand in this, because nobody does it better than me. Yeah. As we all look at Tom Brady and, winning a Super Bowl for the 7th time, you can call me the Tom Brady, the Beyonce, the Michael Jordan of pitching. And that's how I stand. And I dare and I challenge anyone at 2:00 in the morning in a dark alley, meet me, because I'm going to show you what the best in the world is really like. And I'm still Black on all sides. Mm-hmm. I respect the gangster of my color, my race, my gender, my sexual orientation, all of that. I embody it all, because if I don't, we will always have women who will think that they can't be themselves and make it.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Precious, for your vulnerability, for your authenticity. I don't know who said this quote, but they said, let your light shine, so you give others permission to let their light shine as well. And I see the light. Yeah. And I see your light shining. I see it, and you give other women permission, and that will take the world by storm. Beyond 2021. So thank you for sharing everything that you did, and thank you for inspiring those who are listening. Really appreciate it.
I totally love this. I'm thankful to have been selected, and you don't really know what you're doing.